What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Tell Mom podcast. You're joining us for the 81st rendition episode. I left my energy drink sitting on the ping pong table behind the camera. Damn it. We are the brother and sister duo podcast.
Hey, y'all. I'm Britany.
What's up? That's Britany. I'm Cullen.
If y'all are just tuning in and you haven't been listening to our podcast for the last year and a half that we've been doing this, we like to talk about everything. Anything and everything goes on this show, y'all.
And no crybabies, even though we've got them right here. Yeah. I love me some crybabies.
He said something about we were eating some crybabies last time we were here, and I love the sour candy. Cullen's a candy fiend. Wait, hang on. Hey, Google.
Yeah, what are we doing? Hey. We got music just jamming in the background from when we were setting up.
Big Willie style. Hey, Google, turn the music off. Hey, Google. Turn the music off.
The front door.
There we go. It's like, whatever. We're going to party.
We just started rolling with it.
Yeah, we did.
Welcome to the new year.
Miami.
I honestly didn't even hear it until you said,
it's
hang on.
Background noise. You know, when you're doing something, you got to have the background noise. But yeah, Cullen said something last time we were here. We were eating crybabies.
There you go.
Oh, sorry.
There
hey, y'all. Is. There I am. We were eating crybabies last time Cullen was here. And I know that y'all hate it when we eat on the show, but come on, y'all. We're both candy connoisseurs.
I think... oh, man.
People hate that.
These things are amazing. I think at one point in life, I was addicted to candy. Like, right now, too. I think I'm addicted to candy. Like...
Yeah, I agree. Me too.
Sweets.
Sodas are my thing, but we're doing this thing called No Drink January. You should stop eating candy for a month.
Like kind of like Joe Rogan does Sober October.
Oh.
Where he goes sober and they stop smoking weed and drinking beer and alcohol and
that's the general idea behind No Drink January. I heard it on the radio or something. And it's like a Birmingham, I don't know, people are doing this No Drink January. And I told Corey, I was like, hey, babe, why don't you stop drinking for January? And he was like, what the hell are you going to do? I already can't drink, you know. Because I'm like, you know, it makes sense for at least 1 month a year to just reset.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not like he has a problem drinking or anything like that, but it's like, you know, sometimes you need to just give your liver a break and your body and just like cleanse. Yeah. Yeah, just cleanse yourself from having that after hockey beer. You know, like you don't need that.
Well, we, as we've talked about in the past, man, that was a sour one.
You need to like swallow.
Yes.
Because I can hear Cullen chewing on the thing and I know it's annoying for me, so it's annoying for y'all. So we apologize. No more crybabies, Cullen. Put the candy away for the new year.
Yeah, but no, we, gave up like drinking during the week and stuff because it was getting to where we were drinking every single night.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that. Like, what's going on with you and your addiction and all that stuff?
Freaking January 13th, 2019.
Holy Cullen, it's
almost been a year.
We had a party.
Yeah, it's almost been a freaking year. Yeah, let's go light it up and celebrate it.
Well, that's good. Congratulations, man. So that was it. It was just like you put your mind to it, and that was it.
Yeah, once you get over that first, like month, I think.
Yeah.
The first month.
Takes 28 days to break a habit or something.
Something like that, or 55.
You know that movie with Sandra Bullock where she broke her leg and she's at the rehab and takes it's called 28 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, 28 days to break a habit. That's how I always remember. That's how long it's going to take. If I ever want to stop doing something, I got to stop doing it for 28 days. Which goes back to the whole, you know, let's quit for the month.
Yeah, the January thing. Well, the hard part there would be the weekends or like for a smoker, for instance, smoking cigarettes, like those after dinner cigarettes. I know Dad used to like be twitching if he couldn't go smoke a cigarette.
He'd have a mid-dinner cigarette.
Yeah.
He'd be like, I can't stand y'all.
Or like getting in the car, you know, those habitual cues or whatever.
Yeah.
But like
crack the window.
Especially like during college football season and stuff, like when you're around it all the time. I remember that was tough back in the day. Like, because there was times where I was like, no, because I've done that. Like, I'm not drinking. But then, like, you get freaking around it, and it's hard.
Peer pressure.
Yeah, peer pressure and willpower
As I just showed everybody on our Instagram story, the speakeasy. We're going in our basement.
With a kegerator behind us.
Well, the thing is, football, the Super Bowl's in February, right? 1st February?
I think so.
Well, Corey's got in his head that he wants to have a Super Bowl party here in our house at the speakeasy, because I'm pregnant. I can't go anywhere. I can be the bartender. At least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, and he can be home and not have to worry about driving or anything like that, and just have people come over here, watch Speakeasy. You're invited, Cullen.
Yes.
But any of you listeners want to come on by. We're going to party. You just got to know the secret word to get in the Speakeasy. But anyway, so yeah, we said, okay, well, that's the goal. Let's have it done by February. And so for the month of January, we're not gonna drink. So his whole thing is that he's not drinking alcohol. My whole thing is I can't drink pop. He can't stand it that I drink soda, and I'm pregnant, so it's bad for me anyway.
Yeah,
and it's like you were saying, you have a candy addiction. I have an addiction to Coca-Colas.
I used to have that. I remember, I had to have I think it's not necessarily Coca-Cola or Coke or whatever, but the carbonation.
Yeah.
The fizzy. There's sometimes where I just have to get a fizzy drink to burp after I eat, and it's just if I don't have a fizzy drink right now. Sometimes water, I've gotten on a water kick, but... It
is, Cullen. It's funny that you said that because it totally is the carbonation part of it. I remember one time, because I've been addicted to sodas for a long time, I think, and one time, but there was at one point I didn't drink them for a long time. I remember when I was younger, I used to have my Coke every day, And then I went through this weight loss and this period where I was really focused on my health and losing weight and all that stuff. And I just didn't. I cut them out. It was like a New Year's resolution. I didn't drink beer or Coke for a year. Ooh. And that was the first New Year's resolution that I ever actually followed through all the way through.
That's
and
good.
Then the next year, the January 1st, the next year, I'm like pouring Cokes and beer on myself. Let's party. I made it. So it wasn't really woohoo, you did a great thing there. But yeah, the Coke, I got sick. Anyway, I'm addicted to them again. And at one point, I'm addicted to them, and I get sick. And the doctor had put me on this medicine that made the Coke taste flat. Isn't that weird? How a medication can alter the taste buds and stuff. Well, it made it taste flat. So every time, I opened a Coke and I went to drink it and was like, this is terrible. Really? This tastes like shit. And so that was completely turned off by the whole thing because no one wants a flat Coke, right?
Right.
Coke is terrible when it's flat, by the way, when it tastes like that. It took that carbonation taste away. And that was it. And I was like, I never want a Coke again. I started drinking juices, and sweet tea is my thing. I'll never stop drinking sweet tea. But, that was my other thing. But
do you prefer Coke or Pepsi? Or
Coke all day.
All day? Dr. Pepper or Coke?
I think it's at different seasons of life, Cullen.
Because I'm a Dr. Pepper.
I'm a Mr. Pibb person right now. And a cherry Coke. I think
cherry Coke's good.
Yeah, cherry Coke's really good. I think it just depends, because at one point in time, I was a Pepsi person all the way, and then I switched, and then I went through that stage where I just stopped drinking sodas, and then, anyway, it's like alcohol for me. It's some people, my sodas, it's we have a love-hate relationship, but Corey, I know I should stop drinking them because I literally could feel myself getting addicted to the sugar in them and the caffeine in them, and it's if I didn't have one, I would freak out, and I'd be like, I need a Coke. And then I went through this phase.
Like coffee.
Yeah, it's like my coffee. And people are like that with coffee, which I'm not. Yeah. So Coke is my coffee. But there was this phase that I went through where I was drinking, I was addicted to popcorn and peppermints. It's weird. so it wasn't during, I think it started during my pregnancy.
I remember the peppermint. You'd always have peppermints.
God, Cullen, I literally would freak out. In my head, you'd be talking to me, having a conversation, I'd just be freaking out about the fact that I was almost out of peppermint.
Really?
I only had 2 left in my purse. I have to go straight to the store. And I'd be thinking about it. It's funny, that reminds me of this meme my girlfriend put up yesterday. She was talking about how she hooked up with this guy, and he's trying and all she kept thinking about, it would have been nice a nice little romantic experience, except for the fact that she had banana bread in her car and she couldn't stop thinking about the banana bread. How bad she wanted the banana bread, and the guy's trying to be all sexy, like, what do you want? And she's like, my fucking banana bread. Like, she was like trying to rush through it. Anyway,
that's hilarious.
But yeah, like I for some reason I was addicted to popcorn and peppermints. I had to have them, and then that's when my Coke addiction has come back strong. Is because you can't eat popcorn without a Coke to wash it down.
Yeah.
That is literally like where my addiction has come from.
Speaking of popcorn, we have finished officially, which was just crazy because we haven't been a big popcorn bunch in our.
Ooh, go to Costco, get you
the Kirkland. The Kirkland?
And on the popcorn setting.
Is it Kirkland?
Yeah, Kirkland brand.
That is better than any popcorn I've ever had.
And it pops the whole freaking bag.
It pops the whole freaking bag. I've got it down. Katie always asks me, she's like, now how long do you do this? And our microwave can do like, I don't think it's got a popcorn setting. It's from like 1970, but it's got a 10 second, 1 second, it can divvy it up. And I figured out you have to do it for 2 minutes and 60 seconds. Yeah. And she said, well, that's 3 minutes. I said, I know, but if you hit the 3 minute thing, it cooks it too hard and too long. It's got to be 2 minutes, and then you have to hit that 1 minute thing. Or
this the 30 seconds.
10, 20, 30. It's got to be 2 minutes and 60 seconds.
Okay.
It pops it perfectly. And then the taste of it. I wonder
how many bags it took you to figure this out.
I know, right? We finished our first whole like Costco box the other day, and then I went to Sam's to just get stuff, and all they have was like Act 2, like the brand Act popcorn buttery movie theater, and it's not good. Like I didn't even get it because we've had it and compared it. Like Kirkland, I don't know what
Kirkland. It's something in the Kirkland.
We go through like 2 bags a night with the kids. They freaking we had a
what you
bag
really
last
need to
night.
Do, if you want to get serious about it, let me tell you what my fat ass did. I went and got I went online and ordered the orange popcorn butter. I mean, salt.
You sent me home with a baggie full of salt one day, and Katie was like, "What is this? What kind of drug is this?" Like, and I was sprinkling the popcorn salt.
It's the orange movie theater popcorn salt. It's not like your regular kosher salt. No, you got to get the orange popcorn salt,
like seasoned.
And then you got to get the butter. So, because Kirkland, it's not buttered or anything, but it pops. But maybe that's the trick, is that they don't weigh it down in butter and whatever. That's why it pops. Because mine, I press the popcorn button and it literally pops it to max capacity.
Not
every
one kernel. Yeah.
I mean, it's like the perfect bag of popcorn. I love it so much. The other day I went, because I didn't want to go to Costco, because who's got time for that? So I was like, I ran out of my Kirkland popcorn, and I'm not as bad addicted to it now as I used to be, but I'm still like a big fan. And so I go to Publix, and they have buy one, get one free Publix brand. I come home, I pop it, and half the bag, I mean, literally, like, I've done 2 bags, and I've put it on popcorn, and then half the bag is kernels, and it's like literally doesn't even fill up. It's terrible. And then I get through like 2 or 3 bags doing it, like, so I pop another one because I need a full bag to eat, And so then I look at the thing, it says, do not pop on popcorn setting.
Why?
On your microwave. And I'm like, okay. And so I pop it for, I like listen, and I stand my thing, I'm like waiting, but then it's popping all sporadically, and then I've burnt it. Every bag since then I've burnt. I paid like $4, I think, for that box, which I was buying one, get one free, so I technically got 2 boxes, but there's 6 in a box, right? 6 packs.
Oh.
So there's 12 packs total. I paid $4 for. And then I was like, you know what? I got to go to Costco and get toilet paper anyway. We're getting popcorn. I go and I look, and I thought it was $20. No, it's $9.99 for a box of 48 bags of popcorn. And I was like, this is so much better of a deal. Like, what am I doing with my life?
The best friggin' popcorn. That's so funny that we know about this Kirkland popcorn.
Well, the thing, like, my mom, I don't know if you remember, but when we were kids, one of my favorite little pastimes was watching my mom cook up the popcorn.
She would tell you that all that's bunk, and just to get the kernels.
And I got a bag of kernels for backup.
And do it on the stove until that lid starts bubbling up.
I always put in too much, and
yeah, she had a method.
Because I wanted to go really high.
Well, she would be just rubbing it back and forth, moving it back and forth, and then dump it straight into a paper sack.
Paper sack, yeah.
And then sprinkle some, and then do another one.
Back then, the grocery store gave you paper sacks.
Yes, and then you would curl that thing up, and then just give it a good shake, and then she would hand us a paper sack full of popcorn.
Yeah, that was
oh my gosh, she knew how to cook some popcorn. she had the seasoned salt and everything.
Well, you can't, like I was saying before, you can't have a bag of popcorn, Cullen, and with salt like I like it, because you psychos that put salt and vinegar seasoning on your popcorn are crazy.
Oh, that sounds good, actually.
That's what Corey does. He's got a bottle of his salt and vinegar, so we can't even share a bag of popcorn. We got to make our own.
See, I need to branch out in our taste.
It's
flavors.
just not right. It's not right. I love salt and vinegar stuff or whatever. It's not right on popcorn, Cullen. Popcorn should be salty, and maybe sometimes you get the caramel kind.
The Cajun. What about Cajun? Like
this holiday? No. You psychopath. No. You can't have Cajun popcorn. What the hell? Who raised you?
Oh, yeah. The holiday tins.
The holiday tins are good, though. You got the cheese and the caramel and the buttery. And so those three.
Those three, yeah.
And those are okay,
The
seasonal.
cheese
That's a seasonal thing. Yeah. That's a seasonal thing. I'd go through the caramel before any of it.
There's some place in Chicago, I think, or something like that, that's like famously known for their popcorn. And we got it one time we were there. I was at a work trip or something, and ended up
hell of a thing to be famous for.
I know. It's literally like the best popcorn ever, and it's flavored and drizzled with like cherry icing, and it's like
You had to be a drizzled.
They came out with all the fruit flavors. It's like the Fruit Loop popcorn or whatever. It's all multicolored. Wow. And I literally left there and like ordered some to take home, like send home for gifts and stuff, because it was that good.
Yeah, but, I think I got a bag of that from you. So. Like, I think I remember that, but it was like you told me how much it cost per bag of popcorn. I was like, "Woo, you stupid!" Kirkland, $9.99. But
oh my gosh, I was gonna say something. Going back to what you were saying about the pregnancy and drinking thing, Katie still has those flashbacks or those moments. We were at a place a couple weeks ago to go take a picture of Santa or something. And it used to be a different place, but now it's another place, blah, blah, blah. She remembered walking in there while she was pregnant, and everybody else was like all bougie and drinking, and she couldn't drink or whatever. And so she just has that, like, everywhere we go, she remembers, like, it must be nice. I freaking can't drink.
I can't do anything.
She has that resentment still built up.
I don't think it's not like a big issue for me, just because I'd lost my taste for drinking before I got pregnant the first time. And then after Sophia, it's like then I'm breastfeeding, and then I'm having a baby to take care of. So who's got time to be drunk? I got a baby to take care of. You know what I mean? So it's like every now and then I feel like when I got pregnant this time, I felt like I didn't party enough before I got knocked up, because we literally were like, okay, let's start trying, and then bam, pregnant that day, like instantly.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have time to be like, oh, like I've got some months or whatever, I'm not pregnant yet, I can still go out with my girls or whatever. No, none of that happened for me. It was like bam, pregnant. So I don't know. It's just like it's a season. It's not that big of a deal for me. I'm not a sit at home and drink kind of person. Like the only reason I ever drank anyway before was for the social aspect of it. Now when I would go out and be social and drink, it'd be like, we're doing it. Shots for everybody. You know what I mean? We're on the bar drinking. But yeah, I mean, I'm too old for that shit. I got kids now.
It takes a toll on you.
It does, Cullen. Now maybe when I have 2 under 2 like you did, like you phase, then I might get heavy in the booze. But I don't really see that happening for me. I am, however, proud that y'all have cut back. Like you've done so well with your stopping all the extracurricular activities you were doing. And,
yes, it's been very good, beneficial for our marriage.
I've been meaning to ask, and I'm sure our listeners are probably kind of wondering how that's been going for you. Because I mean, you make it look easy to me, but but some people struggle. It's just different people, I guess. Some people struggle with it more than others.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like one of those. It's like what I think Danny said. Like you wake up and make the choice of like, I can go do this or try to do this or try to be deceitful and
right.
go down a different road or just
get yourself in a pinch.
Yeah, like hide stuff, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it's like you see your kids and like. And there are those people that are just so deep into it that it's like they don't care about any of that necessarily. They don't know that they don't need that more than the substance, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just not worth it.
The particular substance matters, too, like what it...
Yeah,
because, like,
the
some of them
stronghold.
It's funny that we're talking about this because we're listening... I'm not listening, but I'm watching this show that I'm addicted to. And if you haven't seen it yet, you have got to go watch this. It's called Snowfall, and it's on FX. And it's I started it a long time ago, but anyway, it's called Snowfall. And you remember that movie where Tom Cruise did about the about like how the United States government is responsible for the cocaine addictions and stuff because they were. It's like called American something or whatever. Anyway, it was Tom Cruise did a movie about
American Psycho?
No. It's about
American Made.
About like American Made. Yes,
Yeah.
where like they were bringing in all the drugs to help fund a war that we weren't supposed to be involved in overseas. Do you know? Anyway, some of you I'm sure have heard of this. Well, anyway, this is like a show that carries that idea on, and so it's talking about how this like CIA agent basically is a drug lord, and he's using the funds.
Based on a true story. Yeah,
it's based on a true story about America and how they were using the war on drugs or whatever, funding the war overseas in some country we were fighting or whatever, or we were trying to help win.
Yeah.
We're trying to help that country win their war, but we weren't supposed to be involved in it, so we were using dirty cocaine money that we're dealing with the cartels and all this stuff. Anyway, it supposedly actually happened, and so I love a good true story, you know.
Yes.
And but anyway, I'm watching this show and it's so good. And the guy Franklin, who's like the big chief dog drug dealer, has invented crack. This is when crack was basically like no one had even heard of crack before, and then they had invented this. And then it's like hitting the streets, and they were showing this video last night, and I'm at this point in the season where there's this cop, the good guy that's trying to fight this epidemic of crack cocaine in the streets, and this new rock that they've never seen before that's like causing people to. And Cullen, I'm watching this scene in this show, and it's like this lady is trying to buy crack. And she's like come back and she's like so frantic for it. And she finally gets it or whatever. She does these terrible things for her, whatever. She picks up her baby who like is skinny, hadn't eaten, and is like taking her baby away, like itching. And I mean, it's just like the saddest thing. And then this other scene where this lady literally like dives in the car as he's driving away, trying to get at it. Jeez. Like a fiend, you imagine a zombie that's coming at you, like, give it to me,
like the flesh-eating zombie.
Yeah, like you know what I mean, like that vampire, the new baby vampire that needs it.
We talked about that. Are we gonna go there?
What?
Getting all wrapped up into that scene back in the day. This was like back in right after high school, was it? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, when we say we've dabbled in everything, we've dabbled in everything except
that was one of those
needles
things.
And stuff.
No.
I would say like
that was one of those things that was like you could see your life spiraling out of control and burning, like,
and you didn't care.
No, because it's like you just needed more. So I think that what I was saying was like I think it definitely depends on the substance that you're actually hooked on.
Yeah.
To your success, you know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, because it's just the stronghold based on the amount. Or the justification in your own head and your own warped thinking. Right.
Well, addiction, you can have addiction to anything, I think. But like, I don't know.
Coke.
I think like you're more fortunate to not have been on that train anymore. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That train, thank God.
That was a hard one to get off.
Back to that station.
Well, and that's another thing is like it's like your stages in life, and we're going to talk about like how long we're going to live here in just a minute.
Yeah, because we got the answers.
But the stages you go through in life, like I keep thinking to myself, how being younger and more vibrant and being able to like pop up out of bed after popping a Molly the night before, versus, God, if I have a drink now, it takes me 3 hours to try to get out of bed. But I couldn't imagine, doing ecstasy.
It's because your age. It's your
That's what I'm
age.
saying. Like, I'm glad I did it then when I did. Like, I'm not glad I did it, but like, if I
got that out of your system,
out of my system, because I couldn't imagine trying to recuperate or recover or even get out of it at this age and
like
stage.
shit like that blows my mind. That like the older folks, it's like, how do you have the energy to go do that?
Yeah,
I just can't. I can't imagine like being. I'm so old now, Cullen. I can't get up the stairs without stopping. Like my back hurts. You know what I mean? I'm 34 years old. Like I'm still young. And
it's just the whole mindset. Like the New Year, like we talked about last week on the episode. Just the whole mindset of New Year's. It's like, what's the point? You're going to spend money. You're going to probably get pulled over, or your chances of increasing versus just building your own speakeasy and staying home and getting drunk. Or, like
it's wisdom that comes.
Yes, laziness and wisdom.
The wisdom. Well, like, okay, so this was our topic for today. I guess we'll get into that. So we were talking about like what we wanted the show to be about today, and I was telling Cullen about this podcast that I've like kind of got into. It's called Bad Batch, and it's talking about like stem cell cures for ailments. Like this lady has arthritis. Okay, it started with this guy named John Kay, and he's like the scientist, I guess. I'm going to get it wrong because I'm terrible at remembering stuff. But anyway, tell them what it's about.
It's about the actual description is
it's a good, like when I read it and I was going through podcasts, I was like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah. Patients are offered a miracle cure, but instead they end up rushed to the hospital in critical condition. The race is on to track down what went wrong with several patients in Texas before more people get hurt. The trail leads to a stem cell company with a charismatic CEO and to an entire multi-billion-dollar industry where greed and desperation collide. It's almost like the whole oxycodone, or what is it? The pharma?
Big Pharma.
Big Pharma. It's just like that multi-million-dollar. Like
it's all greed. It's all about the greed and the money and the desire to live forever and the desire to never die. Basically, I mean that's right. That's what drives us. Well, then we got to thinking. So I've started this podcast, and it's actually very good, and it's just crazy to think that like there are these cure. Like this guy, he had something wrong with him. He had arthritis, and he had gotten hurt. Like his knee was messed up, and he'd gotten this like stem cell, cure or whatever. That was not. It was like a trial, basically. These things are not. Like certified, like they're not proven. FDA. Yeah.
Certified. You can go to like Puerto Rico, I think, and get it done.
Get kinds of crazy shit.
I've heard Joe Rogan talk about like some of the fighters, like the UFC fighters, will go get like stem cell therapy because it helps you recover faster and rejuvenate yourself. And
but it's so dangerous, right? Okay, so the thing is that nothing's going to ever come out, Cullen, about anything that's going to help anybody without somebody behind it getting paid.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure that they could cure cancer, but they're not going to because they're making too much money on chemo. You know what I mean? They're making too much money on the drugs behind it.
Like me off.
I think that there's a lot more to a lot of things than we know about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's what kind of got me thinking about the whole health thing. And this lady on this podcast had like burned her hand, and she went and got. And like they thought she was going to lose her hand, and then she got the stem cell therapy. Like it got infected, like it was really bad, and then and she had all these other things that were just wrong with her that had nothing to do with the burn on her hand. And she started this stem cell therapy, and it just like healed, like her skin just started healing, and it just healed it. It's like this miracle thing, and it. And so her hand is now healed where they thought it was going to be cut off. And then now
it's like there's your answer for everything,
right? I mean, like, it just blows your mind because it's very appealing to anybody. Because then this lady, not only is her hand better, but now the arthritis that she had in her joints is gone, and she feels good, and she can get out of bed perky, and she does like the arthritis is gone. She used to have headaches; those are gone. Like she used it to heal one thing, and it ended up healing like her whole body, and she just feels like a 20-year-old again, And it's like that's so appealing to anybody, right?
Right.
Like even if you don't have a burn or some drastic thing, because it was one of those things, it's like at that point, when you have something really wrong with you, you're willing to spend any money and do anything to fix it.
Yes.
And so these big pharmaceutical companies are taking that into account, and they're like charging, she had to take out a loan for $17,000 to do this for this one spot. And then then you're like hooked. Mm-hmm. Well, then time goes on, and it turns out that it's killing her. Like it wasn't ever.
This is a true story, or
I don't really know. I just got into it, so I'm still trying to figure it out. But so she, like, what I imagine is going on is that it's going to be the reason that she's dies. Well, then they're showing like the other side of it, which is like this doctor who's doing the stem cell therapy, and he's got this company that's like the money. He's got this company that's all about making the money, right? Mm-hmm. They're hiring the doctor to, do the research in the lab and come up with this therapy that will heal people, like this lady, and get it approved and blah, 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 and all this stuff, so they can then sell it. Right? So you got the company with the money and the doctor with the good intention, and then the company with the money is overpowering the doctor with the good intention, and they're like, oh, well, we got a customer. We got to get this out right now. He's like, well, we ain't even built the lab yet. Like, I haven't even gotten anything. I haven't even run my test yet. And they're like, they get this one little taste of something that works, and they're like, oh, it works. Let's sell it. We can sell that. You know what I mean? And they're selling it for a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so then you've got these people, this, Jane Doe that's burn her hand, that will do anything to keep her hand in that moment. And they're saying, well, we got this thing. It's a trial. It's not been approved yet, but it's worth a shot.
I remember Dad went through some
chemotherapy
trial process of chemotherapy that was like quote unquote trial, but it may work better than what we've got out there now. And we're like, whatever.
Yeah, do it.
Let's
right?
do it.
But see, here's the thing: is that you're saying do it, and like it's a trial. It's not approved. It has no. We don't know if it's going to work or what the side effects are going to be. Side effect, death. Like, I mean, when you're faced with death and your own immortality, you're going to say, "Give it to me."
The options, yeah.
Give me, like, what are my options? Well, you don't have any. Okay, well, then all of a sudden you do have one, but it's not approved yet by the FDA. Well, fuck the FDA. I'm going to, give it to me. I want to try that, And so, anyway, it got me thinking, and then it kind of sent me down this, like, rabbit hole about, what we would do. And then it's New Year's now. We're a week into the new year, and it's like everybody that's trying to stay fit and all these modern medicines that are keeping us living longer, Yes. The life expectancy 100 years ago was to 50 or 30 or whatever. And now it's 50. It was to 50 in like the 60s, I think. And then now the average life is 115 years.
That's crazy. We kind of talked about it on the last podcast too. Like, we thought we were gonna have flying cars by now in 2020, and
yeah.
But like with this research and stuff that is coming out, like it's almost like you could live to be 150 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, like that would be crazy. Like the punters and the kickers in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I remember a 40-yard field goal used to be like huge growing up, and now they're hitting them from 60 yards. It's like everybody's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and better and more just massive structure. While like the bodies are,
Like, I mean, well, then you got people that are arguing like, well, there's only a certain amount of time. I mean, because there's what's the limit for what a human body can stand? If you start early with vaccinations and modern medicine, and you're being fed better water and better, better things, and just modern medicine in general, like, who's to say, like, the body as we know it, the human body as we know it right now, they're saying can only live to be 115 years old, and then it just petered out. You know what I mean? Like, you're eventually, like, you have a shelf life. A body can only live so long. But then you've got all these things that everybody's trying right now because it's the new year. That's anti-aging creams, and you're CrossFit, and you're doing the right things to try to increase your life expectancy, to live longer, to be fitter, and to be healthier, and so you can live longer. And then you have people, and then you can have somebody that's 100 years old that did all those things, and that is taking advantage of all the modern medicines and things like that are just available to us at the CVS. Not the things that we got to go to Peru to get. Puerto Rico on the side, you know what I mean? Not all that extreme stuff. I'm talking about just the stuff you can get at CVS that are doing these things, that live like these perfectly healthy lives, and they live to be 100 years old. Well, their next door neighbor has just let nature take them. You know what I mean? Has done none of that, and they live to 100 years old too.
Yeah.
It's just like you could do everything right your whole life, never drink, never smoke, never do anything, and still get cancer same time as me.
Right. Well, and I've known people with grandparents. You probably have some listening out there that you hear it all the time. Like, well, he smoked his whole life, and he lived to be 90. Like a 90-year-old that smoked their whole life. Like, it's just so intriguing. And then on the flip side of that, it's like, you try to protect your children and you try to protect your life, you wear a seatbelt. We were just talking about this with Gaines last night. We were talking about like going through the TV guide and how, you remember how it used to like there was one TV guide channel and it slowly would go through all those shows. And you wanted to see what you wanted to see what was on channel 7, but you turned it right to the channel when it went past 10. You had to wait for 100 more channels to scroll through to see what the next show was. But we were talking about commercials, and then we were talking about how they didn't even have FaceTime, and she's like, "What? No FaceTime?" And like, how did you learn all this stuff? And blah blah blah. I was like, we didn't wear helmets when we rode our bikes. Dad was just like, there you go, have fun. No seatbelts. Mm-hmm. But that's the beauty behind life and death. I mean, like, everything is dangerous. You just don't, it's just like, what's the quickest way that you're going to die, or the quickest way you're going to stay alive.
Said, with age comes wisdom. That goes for the species of, you know what I mean? Evolution. Like, that comes with just in general, humans as people. Like, I was listening to this other podcast talking about smoking, like that, the decline of smoking has increased the life expectancy because people aren't going to die as soon as they stop smoking, because we learned that it's bad for you. Yes. And then, in the 80s and 90s, when the tobacco sales started declining and people stopped smoking and learning that it was bad for you, then of course the average life expectancy went up, right. But it got me thinking, it's like, well, so what does that mean? Because, like a lot of people, they think, okay, well, I got to get married and have babies when I'm 20 and when I'm young and youthful and all this stuff. But youthful, I'm 34. I'm still kind of youthful. I'm not.
You're rocking it.
Oh, I can get up and down the stairs still,
Yeah.
But it's like, what about like our internally, like our body, like how long can our body still reproduce? Because I honestly think that's the only reason we're ever here. Humans are here in the first place, is to keep producing. But it's like, okay, well, are we going to be able? Is our clock, as a woman, are our clocks going to start ticking fast, like later on? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When they say your biological clock's ticking, like, is that going to start happening later? Like, you see women having children in their 40s now.
Oh yeah,
that's a normal thing. Whereas 50 years ago, that was unheard of. So
I saw something or listened to a podcast. What was it? Dude had a wife and like. He was like a 70 or something year old man that had his first kid or something. It's like
a boss.
What? Like, that's just crazy. But that's what he lived his life and made his millions, and then was like, okay, let's have a baby.
Right now that I can
70 years old, like that's just crazy. Well, and going back to like even having babies, we actually talked about doing this. We had a brand reach out to us when we're going to have Gaines about doing the umbilical cord stem cell. Because it's one of those things later in life she could develop cancer, but you go get that umbilical cord, all the rich nutrient stem cells, and that could potentially save her life. Or
where is that right now, by the way?
Where's what?
Where is that
well, that's the thing, is she had to have an emergency. She was breech, and she had to have an emergency C-section, so we didn't.
Oh no! You paid for it, everything.
We didn't. It was a brand deal, so.
Okay.
But we didn't get the
chance.
We didn't get
to do
the brand
Brooks?
deal. No,
just by the no one gets to shit on this.
No.
The first one was fine. He'll be fine.
Yeah, essentially. But like, I know there was something.
Do you wish that you had done that?
Like,
that's kind of crazy.
You clamp the cord for a little bit longer. or I can't remember the technical
science behind it.
Yeah, but you clamp the cord for a little bit longer to let that, or you don't clamp the cord as soon, or something like that. So those
you get a big crop.
Yeah, okay. Or something like that. And then we had like a little styrofoam set up and everything that we took to the hospital with us, and you're supposed to like put it directly into this so they can take it to the lab and then put it in the freezer and keep it and label it and do all their stuff to it.
But we're like, for me, I'd be there like every year checking in, like, can I see my cord, please?
Right.
With my name.
Well, and then some people keep the umbilical cord, crush it up, or like dry it out, and then put it in pills and take. You literally eat your umbilical cord,
hibbity-dibbity,
as the mom, because it's your own nutrients, like your pregnancy nutrients that are so
like
rich.
Eating the placenta and all that.
Yeah. People take a knife and a fork and knife into the hospital, and they're like, "All right, give it to me."
Oh hell no!
Not the umbilical cord, the placenta. Me. That's what it is. You dry the placenta out.
Goes in there.
I'm in there eating it myself, and then they walk in. They're like, "Wait, it's supposed to be for your wife, sir."
And it's not the umbilical cord, sir.
Yeah, I'm like slurping it up like a noodle, like.
So that's not the sack. That's where she pooped.
Oh God! Yeah. Oh, yuck.
The things we do to stay in.
Oh, I'm Jesus. But it's popular. Like, it's a popular, like, it's a hippie, like,
hippity-dippity hocus pocus.
California kale.
I'm not hip with that.
No.
I can't get on board with that.
I think
personally, but more power to you if you want to. You know, I don't judge.
Put the freaking stuff in pill form and take it. Like, no. You got a bottle that's just like placenta. Like, that's
like in the freezer?
I don't know.
Labeled.
Speaking of that, though, have you heard the conspiracy? Like, there's all this cryogenic, I think it's called cryogenics, that Walt Disney, there's a...
Oh, they froze his ass?
Yeah. But there's a whole conspiracy that was about to come out, and in order to counter this conspiracy or this thought that he is still, or his head or body or something, because he always
like Elvis,
always wanted to be like never grow up, Peter Pan, like, you know, don't grow old, it's a trap or whatever. But there's this theory that everybody was speculating all this and almost found out about it. So what does Disney do? They come out with this movie called Frozen. So and it's like the biggest hit of the wonder. So when you search Walt Disney Frozen, instead of finding information about his body, the movie comes up in the Google search and stuff.
Yeah, but what is there to find about his body being frozen?
Like that he's still there and he can come back to life. Like you just melt his ass, I guess.
No, I can get on board with that. Like you can freeze me and try. You can try.
Like what if you
what if you froze me and then 100 years down the road we had the whole cloning bit,
right? Know? Then that's another thing. Like, yeah,
you don't have to freeze all of me. You can just freeze a leg. just enough. Here, I mean, I don't know. I'm cool with who knows, Cullen. This is some of the things. I'm going to sidetrack us just for a second, but it's funny because we were talking last podcast about the things that we thought, like you said earlier, the things that we thought we would have in 2020.
Yeah.
And I was actually Googled that, and I was like, what are some things that people thought we would have in 2020? And just the list was hilarious. I mean, there was the normal flying cars, flying houses. Mm-hmm. There was ape chauffeurs, which I thought would be sweet. I didn't think of that.
Wait, what? Ape
chauffeurs, like ape drivers. Like, we would train the apes to do shit for us, basically.
Oh.
And then that was also, or we would have iRobot type thing.
Well,
right?
It's all out there.
I mean, it's just not as popular.
Even the flying cars and stuff,
yeah. It's there. That somebody said that we would have teleportation. Mm. We'd be able to teleport by now.
I was thinking field trips to the moon.
Yeah, me too. Like, everybody strap in, kids.
We haven't been back to that. That's a whole other we could go back down the conspiracy.
Yeah, but why? What's there? I mean, what you gonna do there?
Float?
Yeah, you can do that in outer space without stopping.
Yeah, that's true. That'd
Just
be
spending
fun.
up the gas money to get to the moon to look at some rocks. You know, like I'm good. We're not that interested.
Would you rather go to the moon or go 90,000 leagues under the sea in a submarine?
Ooh, I'm so scared about what's under there.
Yeah.
Like what's under the sea, because like that's uncharted territory.
Right.
Really, I mean that's like fuck the moon. We don't know what's going on here. Like,
like you don't know.
like Loch Ness, they got nothing on that.
There was something I read the other day or saw or somewhere.
It's like a movie coming out where it's like under the sea, they hit the bottom of the ocean. Like we had the equipment now to where we could actually go to the very bottom, lowest in the sea.
But like the pressure.
And it's like some like shark dinosaur thing that's like coming out at them. No,
do you know how like much stuff we don't know about that's out there, like that deep into the sea?
Yeah, because
like,
there's all kinds of critters down there we've never had the chance to like look at.
There was something that somebody got in a submarine, like a little torpedo type submarine, I read or saw somewhere, and went like the furthest any man has ever been depth wise. And just goes to show you how polluted our Earth is too.
Yeah,
found a freaking candy wrapper in this like pitch black darkness, you know, like
Milky Way.
Yeah, like the Milky Way. Yeah, I don't know. It was like a Smartie wrapper or something. But that's just how crazy the littering and stuff travels in the world too. But
anyway, I know we kind of went off on a tangent about that. You know,
talking about living longer.
Yeah, I mean the things we can do, Cullen, if we just put our mind to it. But some of that, it's like, what's to know? You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
Okay, you found a new fish. I'm like, whatever. I don't care about that. I don't know about the other 1,000 fishes that y'all already discovered that I never heard about. So I guess it's knowledge is power. I get it, but it's like, how many fish do you need to know that we have? I mean, before you stop caring.
What if it's like some super rich stem cell fish that could save your life?
Now that, see, that would be
That's the thing.
cool.
That's why I guess you're always looking for.
That would be. Wouldn't that be something? The whole time we had a damn cure to cancer at the bottom of the ocean.
That would be crazy.
Well, anyway, so back to what we were talking about and like growing and aging. It also got me thinking. So I'm listening to all these podcasts. Like I said, I went down the rabbit hole with this one, you know, and the biology of aging and all this. And I was listening to this one that was talking about like what would the effects be if we never died? Like if we like the old people now already get a bad rap, you know, because like this one lady was talking about like how, you know, they're discriminated against. That's going to be the next real group that's fought for, like, you know, the LG, like the gay community was real, and the women's rights, and now it's going to be like old people rights, because old people are a thing now. Like they're around and they're living. And
they're on TikTok,
right? They're doing their thing, you know, but they're stigmatized and they're put in this like box or whatever because they're old.
Yeah,
and so that's gonna be because now there's more old people because people don't die as quickly. So now we've got 115-year-olds walking around, and can we afford that, Cullen? Can we pay to have like what's gonna happen? It's like, okay, you say you retire at 60. Well, then you live to be 115. I mean, you've lived twice, 120 years old. You've lived twice as long as you worked. And so then you got to have somebody take care of you. And
overpopulated.
And your brittle bones and your, and your mashed potatoes and all the things that you just need. It's like, so then that was the whole another aspect to it. Was like, okay, well then, you know, can we afford to keep growing old? And then what was the other? So the Ford, and then are we even going to see? This was my other talking point. Was are we even going to see old age anyway? Like, are my kids going to see old age? Because now I'm worried about the daggone war.
Yeah. God, don't even get started on that. But
like, this is what I think's gonna happen. I think that somebody's gonna come over here with the plague and kill us off. Like that. Like, that's what I'm scared of. Real talk. Is that's the chemical warfare is the warfare of the future. And that these sick bastards that are trying to come kill us are going to do some dirty stuff like that. You know what I mean? Send over their they're going to like infect their own people and then send them over here to kill us. Like, that's what I think.
Well, it's kind of like the whole mosquito.
Is there going to be a big
the
plague?
Mosquito thing? Like, there's people dying with malaria, or I don't remember what it was.
That hasn't taken out like the masses, though. You know.
Well, no, but
like, you know, we talk about New World Order. Like, it's like something's going to happen that's going to like kill off almost all of the population, and then we're going to have to rebuild that.
Somebody flew on a plane overseas or to Nigeria or somewhere like that, got bit by a mosquito, got back on the plane, brought it back over here. And then, like, but on a
movie?
No, this was like real. Like, so they tracked down.
They're like on the plane coughing.
Yeah. But then, but think about like that scenario, but on a massive scale. Like, they could just send a plane full of infected,
and every major city.
Yeah,
that's gonna spread, and then put all of them on subways, and then you know what I mean. Like, that's the kind of shit that makes me happy. That one, I live in Alabama. Yeah. You know, like
my immune system is strong as hell.
I don't imagine many terrorists coming to Alabama. It's like the guy the other day got shot in Texas. He was a mass shooter, and he was about to open fire at a church, and he had like 6 guys pull their guns out. What are you doing sending a terrorist to Texas? He ain't gonna get his knife out of his pocket before he gets shot, man. That's what happened. I feel like that's kind of like Alabama, you know. But like, I want a house like off the grid, in the woods with stockpile and canned goods and stuff, and then wait it out.
Yeah.
So it's either that. I think that's either going to happen, or because these people, these Iranian people, they scare me, and it's not all of them, obviously. You know, there's the good apples and the bad apples. They're killing their own over there. Like, their own people are like, what the hell? I hate this place. But it's like the bad ones that
are grown up with the mentality of like,
y'all. It's just got me on edge, Cullen, because I'm like, what happens if they nuke Atlanta? Are we gonna get hit? I know that's so selfish, but it's just like, what's gonna happen if like they really have some?
I don't know. That's the the unknown of anything. Like, I always have.
We have the planes. Like, I know that we're like the powerhouse or whatever.
Well, still, it's just like going back to the whole, like, you would just be driving down the street and hit another car, or hit a tree or something, and be gone.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like
flash it. Yeah.
The whole just the whole perspective, especially after you have kids, is like completely different now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm
worried about like what, like all of this really, Cullen, where this came from was like, what can I do for her to live longer?
You're right.
And it's crazy because it's like, she might not want to live that long. Like, I'm tired. Can I tap out? You know what I mean? Like I'm 90. I imagine I'd be like 90 and be like, okay, pull the plug. Like, you're not even plugged into anything.
Yeah.
But what if through, you know, stem cell therapy and transplants? Like, think about it. Your heart goes bad, get a new one.
Right. That happens all the time.
Brain cancer, get a new one. You know, if you have money, I'm sure. But, like, what if these things were affordable and that you could get them? Like, right now, you could get them on the black market.
Yeah.
You know, you want to any kind of transplant, any organ, I'm sure you can get it on the black market. I don't know how to get to the black market. You gotta have, like, a password and directions and shit, which I don't have. But I'm just saying, like,
I want to look into that more. That I've actually, like,
isn't that just so trippy?
It's so intriguing, like the black market and how
Cullen,
like tracked you are, and how there's people on YouTube that have like buy like care packages from the black market, and it's like a mystery box.
I feel like the safest place to be when it comes to the black market is ignorant and like
but it's just, so like
you just want to be part of the masses that's just walking around like, man, I'm gonna buy this bag of Cheetos. You know what I mean? Like, you just want to be like a normal.
There's so much deep down inside of me that's so intrigued by it all. I just want to see what you can, because there's some bad stuff. Like,
it's like not enough to where I want to go like type it in the internet, like in my internet search, like how to get in the black market.
Yeah.
Have you typed that in? Because they're looking at you now.
I haven't necessarily typed that in, but I've like
teetered around.
I've like teetered on the edge of like, what can I say that I won't look
opposite
back?
of white.
Yeah. Farmers market,
where
black farmers market. Yeah.
You can buy things.
But no, yeah, just the crazy and the what seems to be legitimacy on the black market. Like it's like you can get any drug, any gun, any.
Yeah, but where are you shipping that to?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, how are these other people getting away with it?
Right, and where's the police force that's supposed to be monitoring the black market and being like, oh, well, they're sending, little girls, sex trafficking these girls from this point to this point, and they're talking about on the black market. Well, then why don't you go there and figure that out? Like, I
want to do a whole podcast on the black market.
God, can we?
Let's do that. I want to research it and do that.
Can we make that like our homework project for our next podcast? Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Black market. Let's do it.
Cullen.
Let's end let's end on this. Speaking of old people,
love them.
Did you see my TikTok I posted of G-Mother?
No, you posted on my grandmother.
I'll post it up on the screen.
I'm not in TikTok yet. I'm trying to be.
I made an old video of grandmother, but listen to this feisty lady and how
I love our G-Mother. We call her G-Mother because she's a G.
She was a G. But we'll end on this and research the black market.
Live long and prosper.
Yes, here we go. Let's see if this will play for us.
Okay. Cullen and his TikTok. He's hip with the times. I'm left behind.
You're trying to find the damn thing. It's like, hello? Cullen?
I'm right here.
Shit. No.
Whoa, this is a nice phone.
It ain't worth a damn. All of a sudden, I got my phone bill from them, and for the first time since I bought that phone 2 years ago, the damn thing is like, it's $55 for it. Hey, I was going to come and see you. Okay, well, I'll be at the bank because I've got to get there before 1 o'clock.
Well, you get on to the bank before they close.
What time is it?
It's probably 1. Let me check. 12:57.
12:57?
Yeah.
I won't make it.
You won't make it. Spit.
I do more than that.
Say bye to the camera.
God knows, I ought to charge you for all of this.
Well, you're going backwards.
I love her.
Yes,
I miss her so much.
Why was she driving though? See, this is where all the she should not have been driving.
She should not have been driving. She used to go. We used to go to the Walmart. She called it the Walmarts, and she'd be like, "Britany, I need you to take me down to the Walmarts." So I'd take her, and we'd go around, and she'd call. Some of the things she would say to other people, it's just strangers, like it just blew my mind. No filter. She would everything that she wanted to buy, she'd have to open it up first. I remember one time we had her in there and she wanted a bird feeder because she didn't have enough. Good Lord! And so she takes the bird feeder out of the box and she's like cussing and this damn piece of shit bird feeder, and she's cussing at it. And then the lady comes and she calls the lady. I can't repeat it. On that note,
oh my gosh,
I hope that I kind of do hope that we live. I want to live long enough to see, my babies have babies.
Yes,
and I want to live a happy, ignorant life, and I hope that you all do the same.
Leave us a comment and let us know how long do you want to live. And how long do you think we will all live?
Make sure to favorite this podcast too while you're at it.
Oh, it's a new year, baby! Woo!
It's a new us. We can't wait for the next one. We're gonna go look up some black market stuff.
Yes,
on the DL.
Thank y'all for listening. And if y'all have any tips and tricks on how to skirt around this stuff with the black market, let us know. I'm really going to dig into it and see what I can find. All right, we love you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And
see you on the next one.
See you next time. Peace. Don't tell Mom.
Good one.
Oh man,
I had so much more shit I could talk about.
Oh no, I
could go on forever. I made a list on a daggum envelope, Cullen. You know how Mom used to always write on a paper plate? Envelopes.
Napkins. That's when the best ideas come to fruition.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes you wipe your ass with them.